Hello everyone, and welcome to a new series of tutorials for Sandbox. I'm Seregras and I have created Sandbox, which is a system for Foundry VTT to create your own role-playing game systems without the need to code or program anything in JavaScript. So you can create your own indie systems, your home brews, your own creations, things as cool as these ones you can see here. I'm using all this, made them all myself, and you can find many examples on how to do this in our on the web and in the rest of the documentation. Apologies for the delay on issuing a new tutorial. This past year I've had a kid with a lot of special needs and my free time has been greatly diminished. But if you want to help me continue working on and improving Sandbox, Patreon is the place to be. Thanks a lot for the patrons and for the people that support me. If you need to know more about this system in terms of documentation basically documentation, sorry. The wiki and the readme links are on the video description, and if you still have questions after checking those, you can join our Discord server for more help. I would like to thank our Discord community for their support and continuous help, especially Alondar and Ramses 8000. You guys are awesome, and if you have any problems, those two guys are amazing and super helpful. Okay, so let's start then with our new series of tutorials, and this one we're going to check on the basics of Sandbox. Okay, so how to install Sandbox. So you come here, game systems, from the main menu of Foundry VTT, and you can click here on install system and check here on the search bar Sandbox, and you can install this system. Okay, so once you have that, the only thing you need to do is to create, I made mistakes, to create a world. Let's call this world Sandbox tutorial test. The name of the data path is going to be called Sandbox test, and you need to choose from the list that lists are not showing. I don't know why OBS is not showing me the lists, but I'm clicking here in this list box and well, it's not displaying, but okay, I'm checking here Sandbox system builder. Okay, and I click on create world and we launch the Sandbox tutorial test. We choose on game master and voila, we have created our first world in Sandbox. So Sandbox basically needs two things, okay? Two things for you to create your own worlds and systems. So first it needs a template actor and then a bunch of items. It could be C items and template items. Okay, so let's start with the template actor. What's a template actor? Let's call the first one PC template and create one. So a template actor is basically an actor that contains all the information about how our character sheet is going to look like. Okay, so it includes the number of input fields, the number of tabs, the number of panels, even the background image, etc. So the PC template, the template actor is created always by checking on this checkbox template. Once we create it, now this one has become a template actor. So important here, try to create your template actors using only one word. Once you click on the template thing, it's too late to change the name of the template actor. Okay, so I recommend you to choose wisely your name for the template actor. Always, again, try to be only one word. It could be no spaces, and once you click it, that's it. So by default, you're going to see these tabs: the bio tab, the config tab, the tabs tab, and the C items tab. So the only ones that we need are these two, config and tabs. So we can set up our template actor with these tabs. But before we do that, I just mentioned that a template actor is just imagine it like a blank character sheet, okay? That by itself is not going to contain any data, so we cannot use the template actor to store information about any character. So it's just a template. It's like, imagine, like I said, a blank character sheet that you're going to copy it and use it to fill the info for other actors. So for example, if I create a new actor and call it new actor or new PC, yeah, I can make this actor character sheet look like the template actor if I click on the list here and choose PC template here. What has happened here now? So the character sheet is completely empty. We don't have any input fields, we don't have any tabs here up here. We don't have anything. Why? Because this template actor is empty. We have not defined anything for it. So let's continue with the template actor, okay? So the most important things to set up the template actor are some parameters that are included in the config tab. So on the token, we have the token options section. We're gonna check into that later, okay? We have the tab options section. This one is important to define the number of tabs that are by default visible on the character sheet. So remember that we saw this bio tab initially, so we can here uncheck this checkbox and remove it, yeah? Max visible tabs, let's say we are gonna have 2. As you can see now, the template actor reacts to this and only shows us in the ribbon only 2 tabs at all time, yeah? So the character sheet is going to look like this. So again, here you can set up the number of tabs that you want on your tabs ribbon. Sheet styles. Here we can define the height, we can define the background image, and we can define if this little gizmo here is visible or not on the character sheet. Finally, we have an error log that will tell us if there are any errors or mistakes with our template actors once we build it. Okay, so as an example, we've chosen these things right now. Don't worry about sheet styles and token options. We'll go back to them later when we set up how the character sheet looks and the styles and all that stuff. But for now, this is enough. Now, a template actor contains tabs, the tabs that the character sheet is going to display. So very important, before you continue from now on, once you've created your template actor, you need to have an idea, guys, an idea of how your character sheet is going to look like. Yeah, this is very important because Sandbox does not have a visual graphic way to set up panels, tabs, and the character sheet. So once you start adding tabs, panels, and properties, change their position, configuring them is kind of a hassle. Yeah, so it's very important. It will help you a lot to decide how your character sheet is going to look like. For that, let me create a scene and talk to you about something. Let me remove sorry, the grid. I'm going to create the scene just to show you a couple of things. Yeah, so the most important thing to define for a character sheet in Sandbox. So imagine this is our character sheet. Okay, imagine that is. And now imagine that we are going to have here is going to be our name. Yeah, here we're gonna have here the token, like exactly like here. Yeah, and we're going to have here the tabs ribbon. And everything down here is going to be the content of the character sheet. So a very important thing to define in Sandbox and to have in advance, well thought, is the distribution of the content. So have a think and think, for example, okay, I'm going to have here a panel which is going to occupy half of the width with all the personal information. I'm also going to have another one with 50% of the width with all the attributes. I'm going to have the next row, I'm going to have 100% width panel that is going to display all the skills, and then I'm going to have a 66% here that's going to display my my traits, and another one for I don't know what to say here, superpowers or spells or whatever. This is just an example, okay? So very important, again, before you start tweaking your template actor, do this exercise and think about how you want each of your tabs, because this is basically one tab, to look like on your character sheet, okay? So once you have that, let's recreate this, okay? Once you have that in mind, let's create this tab. So then we need to go to the to the items directory, yeah? So this is the actor directory and this is the items directory. One thing that I've mentioned in the previous tutorials is that an organization, a folder structure for your items, for your Sandbox items and template Sandbox items is very important. We kind of established a default, a preferred way to do this. We said that we create two folders, one for the template items and one for the C items, okay? So this is what most of the people do right now. So if you receive a system from a Sandbox system from someone else, I mean, it would be good to kind of have this standardized approach for folder structure, so we all understand where we can find the stuff. On template, we're going to create other folders, one for tabs, another one for panels, another one for properties, and a final one for groups. Okay, here on tabs, we're going to create our first tab. It is going to be called, data tab. And we're going to select from this list box the sheet tab option, this one. Sorry, OBS does not display the content of the lists, so, but I'll give you some time to see what I've chosen. A very important thing right now is that if you intend to use compendium and other functionalities from Foundry VTT core, every template item needs to have a different name, okay? So you cannot have a second data tab item, okay? This is also very important for C items too. I'm sorry about this was not present in the previous tutorials because that functionality was not included, but right now our latest Sandbox version allows us to use compendia, which is very useful. So apologies, but now all the items need to have a different name. Again, only if you're going to use the compendia functionality. So we create the tab. All the Sandbox items display the kind of items here below the name, and also by the icon you can kind of know what kind of item is. Also, they all display the basic and similar 2-3 tabs. The first one is description, where you can write more or less what this element does. So this tab contains the main character information, blah 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 blah. Okay, details. Now here's where we're going to define the basic setup of the tabs. Every template item, every Sandbox template item has a key. The key is the most important thing of every Sandbox item, and it needs to be unique and always needs to be filled. So whatever you do, never leave a blank key in your items. I'm working on, I don't have time, but I'm working on including a checker in the system that when you close an element, a Sandbox element, and the key is not filled, so it auto generates one, so there are no problems. Okay, but for now, always fill your keys. Keys can only be one word, no space, no blank spaces in between or anything. So let me call this data tab. This is the key, okay, and it needs to be unique. There can't be another item with a name, with a tab key, data tab. Not even if it's a panel, if it's a property, no other item can have a key, a data tab, a key that is equal to data tab. Title, this is also mandatory to fill. Why? You need to input this because this is what's going to be displayed here at the top and at the ribbon, tabs ribbon. So we're going to call it data. Okay, or no, let's call it info. Yeah, whatever. In control, in this list, you can choose if the tab is going to be displayed for every user or only the game master. And finally, the visibility of tabs and panels is something that we're going to look at soon, but not now, so you don't get confused. Okay, so we have our first data tab. We have no panels, but we'll look at that now. We're going to create a second one, which is going to be called inventory tab. We choose sheet tab. Okay, and this tab displays the characters, gear, and blah 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 blah, whatever. This is not mandatory to fill, huh? This is optional. Details, so inventory tab, as you can see, only one word, unique. Title, inventory. Okay, and it's also public. All right, so we have our two tabs, okay, data and inventory. Just as a quick explanation, so assuming this example, so this is going to be the data tab, and for the second one we're going to have we're going to have a 100% panel that is going to display a table with all the gear. Okay, so this is, so to not confuse you, this is data tab and this is going to be the inventory tab. Okay, all right, that's our design for this. So now that we have our tabs, we go back to our template actor and we need to drag these tabs to the template actor, and here they are. Okay, this is the order that they're going to be displayed on the tabs ribbon. Yeah, so once we have this, we go back to our new PC and hey, we can't see the tabs. What happened here? Now, very important, Sandbox is not has a lot of processes. Most of its processes are not of building a character sheet are not immediate. Yeah, as it is a very vast program. So, and I'm only one guy. many of the processes have been built upon discontinuous operations. So that means that every time that you change a template actor, you need to press this thing, this icon called rebuild sheet. So we do that, and as you can see, something has happened. The program refreshes and we're back at the main menu. So now we click on new PC and we still don't see anything. That's because we haven't reloaded the original template. Once we click it, boom, it appears here. So to summarize again, Sandbox templates are not immediate when you change a tab, a panel, a property, or any element included in a template actor. That change is not going to be immediately displayed on a character sheet that is linked to that template actor. For starters, you will have to rebuild the sheet and then reload with this icon the character to update the info that it has about that template. Okay, I'm sorry about this. This will change in the future once Sandbox is completely stable. We have all the functionality we need, and I can focus on more visible ways of building character sheets and more ways of doing this more immediate. Okay, but for now it works for everyone. So you can see we have two tabs. We click on info, nothing displays because we don't have anything, and we click on inventory and it doesn't display. As you can see, the template also shows you the tabs. Yeah, you can click on this and you can see, and you can go back to the config and the tabs, but the template also always display as a way of showing you how the character sheet looks empty. It also looks and displays the tabs. Yeah, but again, remember, never fill information in never fill the tabs, the tabs of a template actor that are not config and tabs. Okay, now, so now that you know more or less how to build tabs for a character sheet, let's talk about a couple of things for settings of a character sheet. How to set up a character sheet. So here in the configuration, in the game settings for Foundry, you'll find the configure settings. So click there and we find this new menu, and you need to click on system settings. Okay, there are configuration options here that are very useful for Sandbox. The first one is show role with advantage option. This obviously is included for D&D D20 based systems. Okay, so if this one is checked, this 1d20 icon is shown on every character sheet. Once you click this, it changes from advantage and then to disadvantage, and then you click again to 1d20. What does that mean? If advantage is clicked on and selected, once you roll a d20 with this character, is going to roll 2 d20s and pick the highest number. Okay, so as we have not defined the kind of system that this is, let's just uncheck it and get rid of this one. The second option is show d20 roll icon option. So this d20 icon is a free roller. So if you click it here, it displays a dialog panel where you can choose an expression 3d8. Okay, and once you click it, boom, it rolls, and you see this strange panel here that has appeared. Yeah, there's also this TC box here. So this is a free roller. So for our example, we also don't need it. I mostly leave it in all my Sandbox systems just because it's useful for the players. But if you don't need it, just uncheck it and will disappear. as you can see, it does not disappear now. You need to rebuild the template to make that happen. Show DC window. So the difficulty class is very useful for systems that have difficulty role difficulties or role thresholds, difficulty thresholds. This can be linked to roles in a lot of ways. You can kind of achieve many types of automation in Sandbox, and very cool. Okay, and here you can set the DC not only for yourself, but if you link the system to this DC, you can do a lot of automated cool things. So that's the DC window. We're going to leave it right now because we're going to need it. The show last role window. This is very useful for, I'm going to be honest, I created this because I stream a lot of games for the Spanish community, Spanish speaking community. And when I stream, I don't show this column, but I need a way, aside from the 3D dice of dice, I need a way to show the viewers the last roll, because once the dice, the three dice fade, if there's a new viewer joining in and we're talking about that roll, he won't know which one it was. But this, again, you can remove this by unchecking show last roll window. I'm going to leave it because it's going to serve us, it's going to be useful for us to check on last rolls once we get to the rolling options. Finally, show roll modifier. Okay, so this is an extra option that if I click it here, is going to display an input field, numeric input field, where you can type a number that is going to modify it's going to be added to the total of every roll for this player. So we'll see about that later on for our roll options tutorial. And then we have the token options. So Sandbox has a lot of cool options for tokens. So if you want them to work, you need to check this option. So I'm going to keep it on. This is important to remember. There are a lot of modules that modify tokens for Foundry VTT, core Foundry VTT. If you check this option, the most likely, it's highly possible, it's very possible that those modules won't work with Sandbox, okay? Because Sandbox overrides a lot of token options and does its own thing. CSS style file, we're going to look at this when we check on how to style our character sheet. And initiative attribute key, we're going to look at this for our updated role expressions tutorial. Okay, we press on save changes, and as we have removed some stuff, let's rebuild, and we open the new, and you can see we removed the roll with advantage and the free roll button. Okay, so that's all you need to know about tabs and template actors. Okay, again, to summarize, the tabs for a template actor are here. You rebuild here. You can change the order and position with this arrow, clicking this arrow. So this way you would show the inventory tab first, but let's get it back to, let's undo that. Okay, so these are the basics. We'll look on token options in the future for map options and sheet styles when we talk about the CSS and styling of a character sheet. So this was our first and quick tutorial for this new series. We've looked a bit on what Sandbox does, how to install it, how to create a character template, how to create an actor based on a template actor, how to create a folder structure for Sandbox, and how to create tabs and what tabs look like and the different options for them. Okay, so this has been the first tutorial. I'm going to try to prepare tutorials like this, 30 minutes. I'm gonna record now the second one, so don't go too far. I'll be back right now. Any questions, leave them here, or preferably Discord. And please, if you want to help me, Discord, Patreon is the place to be. Thanks for all of your support. See you soon.